Hello students, welcome to the science class. Today we are doing the concluding part of chapter 10, motion and measurement of distance. So let's get started. If we see things around us like a school bag is there, a mosquito, a table, uh, maybe a butterfly, dog, cow, your hand, a small boy, fish, a sewing machine, moving train, clocks of the hands of the clock, there's a large list of things which are moving around us. You might have noticed that the bird is not at the same position after some times, while the table is at the same place. On the basis of you may have decided whether an object is at rest or in motion. So that means we see many things moving around us when the bodies keep on changing their position with respect to some other object, then it is called motion. A boy walking along the road, and a body is said to be at rest when it does not change its position with respect to its surrounding objects. For example, if a flower pot is lying on the table, then the flower pot is at rest with respect to its surrounding. Maybe a table is also said to be at rest. Motion seems to be of some kind of change in the position of an object with time. Now, let us see some other types of how many types of motion are there. There are three types of motion. First is rectilinear motion. It is related to when an object's motion is in straight line in a fixed direction. For example, a bus moving in a straight line. Then there is a circular motion. When the motion takes place along the circular path, it is called circular motion. For example, the blade of the ceiling fan that rotates around the fan hub. Then there is a periodic motion. The motion which repeats itself after a fixed interval of time is called a periodic motion. For example, the ball bouncing in the air or earth in the orbit around the sun. One by one we will discuss it in detail. You may have observed the motion of a vehicle on a straight road, march past of the soldiers in a parade, or falling of the stone. What is this kind of a motion? Like the sprinters are in a 100-meter race also move along a straight line. You can think of some other examples also. In all these examples, you see that the object moves along a straight line. This type of motion is called as rectilinear motion. Now, what we do, take a stone, tie a thread to it, and just whirl it with your hand. Observe the motion of the stone. You will see that the stone moves along a circular path. In this motion, the distance of the stone from the hand remains the same. This type of motion, what is this type of motion called? This is called a circular motion. The motion of a point marked on the blade of an electric fan or the hands of a clock are the example of circular motion. The electric fan or the clock by themselves are not moving from one place to another, but the blades of the fan rotates and so do the hands of the clock. If we mark a point anywhere on the blades of the fan or on the hands of the clock, the distance of this point from the center of the fan remains the same. This shows that it is rotating. It rotates on its axis and it is moving in a same path, that is circle. So it is a circular motion. Now, next is an object which repeats its motion after some time. This type of motion is called a periodic motion. Means interval of time is called a circular motion. For example, the ball bouncing in the air or earth in the orbit around the sun. Take a stone, tie with a string. So, and then hold the string in your hand and let the stone hang from it. So hang. then what will you do? You just pull the stone towards one side and let it go. What will happen? This is like a pendulum. Some things to have a lot of pendulum. This is called a pendulum. Some things to have a lot of fun with and some things that will help us understand about periodic motion. Motion of a pendulum, a branch of a moving tree to and fro. The branch of the tree is moving to and fro. Motion of a child on a swing, like when you are swinging on a swing, what kind of a motion is? String of a guitar or the surface of the drum being played are the example of periodic motion where an object or a part of it repeats the motion after a fixed interval of time. Are you getting it? They are repeating the same motion after a fixed interval of time. This is called a periodic motion. You must have observed that it remains at the same location while if you see a sewing machine, you will observe that it remains at the same location while its wheel moves with a circular motion. It also has a needle, you will see the needle, which is moving up and down continuously as long as the wheel is rotating. So, the rotating of a wheel is a circular motion, whereas the needle that is moving up and down, what kind of a motion it is? It is a periodic motion. You have observed closely the motion of a ball on the ground. Here, the ball is rolling on the ground, rotating as well as moving forward on the ground. Thus, the ball undergoes a rectilinear because it is moving straight. So, it is a rectilinear motion as well as rotational motion. Can you think of any other example of rotational motion? We can think about like the earth rotating on its axis. It is a rotational motion. A car moving in a rotational motion. Wheel of the car is moving in a rotation while the car is moving forward, but the wheel is moving in a rotational motion. So, we have discussed some kinds of motion. We saw that motion is a change in the position of an object with time. The change in the position can be determined through distance measurements. This allows us to know how far or slow a motion is. The movement of a snail on a ground, a butterfly flittering from flower to flower, a river flowing along on a clear rounded pebbles, an aeroplane flying high up in the air, the blood flowing inside our bodies, there is motion everywhere around us. With this, we come to the end of this chapter. Thank you and have a nice day.